Good morning, everybody. My name is Jen, the Caffeinated Crafter. Today is Sunday, October the 12th, 2025. Today's the 12th, right? I don't know. I don't know what day it is. Yes, October the 12th, 2025. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome. It's a channel where I talk about all the cross stitch, and if you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for following along. I worked a lot this week, so I didn't get to everything. But it's okay. It's okay. My plan, oh, my hair. My plan is going to be to just kind of keep rolling these pieces over, because I have the week off coming up that I take off every year for my birthday. And I'll see if I can catch it up at that point. If I can't, then we're just gonna call it a wash. So you're gonna see pieces that did not get work, but it's okay. They're gonna carry over, and they'll just keep carrying over until the end of October. If I don't get it done by the end of October, then we're just not gonna worry about it no more. Okay, here's my board. Like, I got stuff done, but at the same time, I'm like, wah, wah, wah. No temperature stitching this week. I did not get to portals. There is a new project on here that you guys hadn't seen before. I totally forgot to mention it last week. Again, I got almost caught up on afternoon tea for Gridiron Grime, but then I didn't get to Bathyscaphe, so... and I did not get all the Monopoly stitching done, which I was kind of suspecting I wasn't going to do, but we're still going to do a new round anyway. I mentioned that last week. So today we're going to talk about the whips that I did get to work on. We're going to vote for, we're going to do another round of voting for a second replacement piece for temperature whips, so that, because there are two that once I get caught up and do the current temperatures, they're going to be really, really close to getting done. And so I want to have two whips ready to go as replacements. And plans, we're still doing a new round of Monopoly, like I said, and then, plans for next week. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into my stitching. First thing we're going to talk about is the Monopoly stitching I was able to get to this week. First up is Winter Sampler. This is by Cooler Design Studio, charted by Cooler Design Studio. Artwork is by Sandy Orton. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. I'm doing this with called for DMC 2/2 full cross on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco. My board was way far away. And I needed 400 stitches from Monopoly, and that is where I got. So I got the red border of the countdown banner all the way done, filled this in a bit more, started in on the, work mostly over here, as you can see. So I got my 400 stitches done on this. I do have it in Pattern Keeper, but I don't have the stitches, what's it called? I'm not sure if all of them are marked off with what I've done, but we'll, let's see what I have of what I do have marked off. Gotta find it now, hang on. There it is. Okay. What I do have marked off, I have 6,564 stitches done. Out of 33,314, I'm at 19.70% of the cross stitching. There's a lot of back stitching in this piece. So, okay, so there's that. And then the other piece I was able to get to is Mother Nature Christmas. This is out of Just Cross Stitch Magazine 2023. And it was designed by Perry Haiti, who is Stitchora. She was on Etsy, but her site moved. I think she's now on wizardy.com. That's Wizardy with an I. I think that's where her stuff was moved to, was wizardy.com. And I'm doing her 2/2 with the Call for DMC 2/2 full cross on another 28 count tea-dyed Monaco. And for Monopoly, I needed 300 stitches. And this is where she is now. So, worked right in here on this side of her hair. I still have to put a belt in and do more French knots in the top of her dress here. But yeah. She's looking really pretty. These are bells right here. Yeah, super happy with how she's coming along. I'll be excited to see her in the whip parade when I do like beginning of the year and end of the year, because she's had a lot of stitches on her this year. So it's going to be really cool to see all the progress on her. Okay, so that was all the Monopoly stitching I got to. I still have 2 pieces that I was not able to get to for Monopoly. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and do Gridiron Grind. So, here it is. So last weekend, Gridiron Grind game by Kim Hollenbeck, where you take, what I'm doing is I'm taking 2 whips, my kids, that are for my kids. I have one assigned to my home team, which is American football, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The other one is assigned to whichever team they are playing. I'm doing 10 stitches per point that they score. The winning team gets an additional 100 stitches. And if the score is greater than 10 points, then it's an additional 100 stitches. So last weekend, the Bucks played the Seahawks, and the score was 38-35 Bucks. They won. So the Bucks needed the 380 for the stitches plus an additional 100 for winning. So that was 480 stitches. That was on Bathy's Cave. I didn't get to that one. Afternoon tea is the one assigned to the away team, and they needed 350 stitches, but they had won the previous game and I didn't get to it last week, so I had catch up on that one. And so essentially I needed a total, like last week I wasn't able to get to their piece and they needed 410 stitches for winning the previous week's game that I wasn't able to get to. So between the previous week and this past weekend, I needed a total of 760 stitches. I did not get all of it done. I still owe a little bit more. This is like serious catch up. But anyway, so I'm going to show you the one I was able to work on, which was afternoon tea. I'm almost caught up with it. I know it's very confusing. I know what it is. I know it's probably confusing for you. It's okay though. Okay, so afternoon tea. God, I am a mess today. Afternoon tea is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Randall Spangler. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. This is for my younger son. And it's 381 by 487. It has 89 colors. I'm doing the Call for DMC 1/1 full cross on a 32 count easy count Lugana. So I was able to get all of the catch-up stitching done, which was 410 stitches. And then for the current game, I was able to do 257 out of the 350 stitches needed. So in total, I did 667 stitches. why I didn't do an additional 3 to make it a more even amount and do whatever. Anyway, it's fine. So I now have a total of 1,666 stitches completed out of 184,805. I am at 0.90%. So again, I know it's a little confusing with me being like, oh, I need this from last week and this from the previous week. It's fine. I know where I'm at. You guys just follow along. Okay, so again, I did not get to Bathyscape, which is the piece I'm working on for the Bucks. So it's going to be a lot of catch up because there's another game today. Yay. Okay, let's do Bake Off. Okay, so Great British Bake Off. I have whips assigned to each baker. And for I have whips assigned to each baker. Whoever gets last in technical or first in technical or a handshake from Paul, they get 100, their whip gets 100 stitches. Whoever gets star baker gets 200 stitches, and whoever gets eliminated gets 300 stitches because their piece will no longer be in the game. I was able to get caught up and from the previous week and get all the stitching done for this week. So with that, I'm Gucci. I'm good. Okay, so give me 1 second. Oh, here it is. I was like, where did my book go? That I had it all written down in. Okay, so for the previous week, was that? Yeah, okay. So for the previous week, I needed to catch up on, for week 4, I needed to do 100 stitches for that person getting last in technical. And then for week 5, they got last in technical again, and they were eliminated. So it was a total of 500 stitches for that whip. That whip is Christmas Cupcake. This is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. Artwork is by Anders Eisman. It's 300 by 315, and it has 91 colors. And that is what it's going to look like when it's done. It's not full coverage. That like hunter green background is not stitched. I'm doing this 2/1 full cross on a 20 count Aida in the color Palomino by Mystic Fabrics. This was a fabric of the month from December of 2023. That's what the fabric looks like. It's so pretty. Okay. Hang on 1 second, because I got parked threads everywhere because of how I was working this. So I got 500 stitches on this. I'm trying to figure out how to hold it. There we go. Okay, 500 stitches on this. And oh my God. Sorry. I'll put it back up in a second. Hang on. There we go. Oh my goodness. I'm struggling. Okay. There we go. So I started in the middle, and I had been working my way, as you can see, there's some stitches up here and stuff. I had been working my way like all over, right? But then I was like, oh crap, what if I screw this up? Because it's not full coverage, but it's charted by a full coverage company. Sometimes you can't fudge it, especially with something like this. So I came back to the center, and I had been working kind of almost, this way. I finished the center block, and then I just started kind of doing this number right here, just kind of going around and around and around. So my 500 got me to complete this bottom row that I was working on. I did go a little bit down And then I came, because it was just those stitches right there, and then I started coming up this way. So the idea is, as this comes out again, I don't know when that's going to be because this piece is done for the game. But as this comes out again, I'm going to go up this way to the 100 stitch block that's right here. And then I'm going to go back across this way and just kind of keep going like that. That way I don't screw anything up. But I am now sitting at 2,828 stitches completed out of 67,748. I am at 4.17%. And what I had decided to do, I think because I needed so many stitches on it, I had decided instead of doing block by block, I decided I was just going to work that entire bottom row. Because it was like 4 blocks total. I was like, you know what? I need 500. I'm going to be working across this anyway. Let me just work across the entire bottom row. So that's what I ended up doing. Okay. And then next up, so that was to catch up week 4, and then for the last and technical and eliminate a player for week 5. First and technical, their piece is Spicy Disaster. Yes. I had to think about that for a second. Right? Hang on. Yes. First and technical. Their piece is Spicy Disaster. And it's a kit from Leisure Arts. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. It was designed... Oh, the designer is on here. Lee Fisher. Oh, she and her husband Derek reside in Florida and are looking forward to their 8th grandchild. Well, I'm sure at this point the grandchild's been born. Congratulations to Lee for being a grandma. So anyway, Spicy Disaster. I'm using everything that came in the kit. It's a 14 count white Aida. This needed 100 stitches for its baker getting first and technical. And that is where I got to. So I got oh my God, worked a bit more in this flower, but I got the purple stitching completed for the word disaster. So when this comes out again, I will probably work on back stitching the word disaster and then just kind of continuing up. So yeah. Okay, so we talked about that. We talked about that. Okay, in week 5, there were 2 handshakes. The first one, their whip, is Patchwork Quilt Room. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, artworks by Ciro Marchetti. And it is the max color version. It's 700 by 490. It has 238 colors. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. And I needed to get 100 stitches for its baker getting a handshake. I'm doing this with the Called For DMC 2 strands full cross on a 20 count easy count Aida. Probably not going to be able to see a whole lot because it's so confetti heavy, but I got my 100 in there. This is a quilt that's going to be hanging down. So I got my 100 in there. That's everything I've done so far. I'm sitting at 8,159 stitches done out of 343,000. I am at 2.38%. And then the other handshake, their piece is Sweet Bee. This is from Stitch Rovia. I got this on her Etsy shop. And it is 140 by 140. I'm using the called for DMC 2/2 full cross on a 28 count fabric with a mystery color because I thought it was one color, but I feel like it's darker than what everybody else shows. I thought it was lamb's wool, but I feel like it's too dark. I have no idea what color this is, but it works, so it's fine. Okay, so this needed 100 stitches, and it was 100 back stitches. So really 200, because I do 2 back stitches to count as 1 stitch. So I finished back stitching around this right here, and then I back stitched the word honey, got the little design here and here. I actually did a little bit more than the 100 because I wanted to just finish that. It was like that far away. When I hit 100, I had that much left of the line. I was like, oh, screw it. And I just finished the line. So this block is not done yet. There's still like this orangey color that is going to go, I think, like a line like that. And I think like that. And then it's also going to kind of go across here. So there's still more back stitching in this section right here that needs to be done. So the next time this comes out, that's what I'll keep working on. And I will probably, I don't know, we'll talk about it in plans because I already watched this week's episode. So yeah. All right, well, there's a spoiler. It's coming out again this week. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go up, if I'm going to go down. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Okay. So there's Sweet Bee. And then Star Baker, their piece is, I showed you the eliminated one already. Okay, I was like, why do I only have one left? So the person who got Star Baker, their whip is the Mermaids of the Season style from Bella Filipina. This is from 2023. It's 181 by 243. I'm doing the called for everything. Called for threads, beads. It's being stitched on the called for fabric from Fiberlicious. This was like a collab between Bella Filipina and Fiberlicious. So I'm using their fabric. It's a 28 count Lugana in the color Singing in the Rain. And this needed 200 stitches. I worked on this piece, not gonna lie, I worked on this piece in the very beginning. Like, I think I worked on it on Sunday. And it's like when you work on so much stuff, you kind of almost forget what you've done. I forgot that I worked on this. Okay, so I will show you the rest of it, but this is what I was able to do. So I worked in the Autumn Mermaid. I got my 200 stitches in. That is counting this border. So what I did with the border, I know a lot of people do this, but I just wanted to point this out for those who don't know. So to make it easier to count, I did half crosses, and then when I hit on a grid line on the pattern, I did a full cross, and then I counted down, and on stitch 10 at the bottom of the grid, I did another cross. So I did half stitches. It might be hard to see. I did half stitches, and then when I hit the bottom of the grid, I did a full cross. And then that way I was able to be like, okay, counting on the pattern, it was like 7 full grids down, like blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4. See, you see how it's like got the full cross right there, right there. So it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I did 8, and I count because this stitch was closer, so I think I counted down to the 8th block, and then I just kind of counted 500 times to make sure I was in the right spot. That way I was able to get started on her. So I got my 200 stitches on her, and this is everything that I've done so far. Summer has had the most work, it looks like, but spring and summer both have had 1,000 stitches put in. Winter has had 700 put in. It's just, I think because of where I worked at on the summer piece, it looks like she has more. Obviously this is summer. But she still has a big old tail that needs to be done. I just happen to work on her top half. That's why it looks like she's almost done. Okay, so there is that. So that was everything for Bake Off. Okay. Now, the piece that I didn't mention. So Veronica over at Night Stitch, I'm going to link her channel down below. She and I share a birthday month, and so she had messaged me and asked if I wanted to do a start along with her. We're doing 2 different whips, but it's by the same designer because I influenced her onto this designer. This is the designer is Maya Stitch, M-I-Y-A. She has an Etsy shop. She's from the Ukraine. And I have a few, I'm not actively working on any of them, but I have quite a few of her patterns. And so Veronica wanted to start a new Maya Stitch piece for her birthday month. And since we share it, she said, do you want to do one too? And I said, sure, because I have Paris that I had waiting to be started and I had not started it yet. So I went ahead and put a start on this piece. So it says Paris by Maya Stitch. And it's one of those pieces where it's going to look like absolutely nothing until you start putting the back stitch in. I just noticed that it's a perfume bottle with the city of Paris in the background. I just like looking at it in the camera. This is the bottle, and then this is the cap for the perfume. Oh my God. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, I just noticed it. Okay, so I did, I'm using the called for DMC, and I'm doing it 2 strands full cross on this might be a 16 count Aida. And it was a lot of half stitches, so it ended up being essentially 400 half stitches, but I got 200 stitches on this. And no before picture because it's a new start. So there's that. Not much to show, but yeah. Okay. So I don't have plans to keep that out necessarily because it literally is a start along. Both she and I have lots and lots of projects. So yeah. Okay, next up we're going to do, I just have 2 whips left. Next up we're going to do Catching Rays. This one is my biggest whip. I did not get to portals this week, wah, wah, wah. But I did mention last week that I might not get to it, and it was okay if I didn't. But I was able to get to Catching Rays. I am doing this piece. I'm using this as a challenge with Andrew, the runner stitcher. He's training for the New York City Marathon, and he has a tracker of how many miles he runs to train, and basically his challenge is to do 10 stitches per mile that he runs during his training. Some people are doing 100 stitches on the days he trains. Some, or people are doing all different stuff, but I'm doing what he said. I'm doing 10 stitches per mile that he trains. So Catching Rays. This artwork is by Abraham Hunter. This is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. It is 1200 by 900 and it has 134 colors. Like I said, this is my biggest whip. It's 1,080,000 stitches in total. I am doing this 1/1 full cross on a 32 count easy count Lugana. And I decided this week that I was going to, I am not caught up with it, by the way, with his challenge, because Home Slice decided to go ahead and do a 20-mile run yesterday. I was only like 50 stitches behind, and then he was like, I got my 20 miles in. I was like, damn it. So I still have a lot of catch up to do. But I decided to go ahead and work on getting those part threads worked in up there, up at the top. I was able to do a total of 400 stitches on this, just working the part threads in. I still have one more thread to get. So when I work on it this coming week, I will get this one final thread worked in, And then I'm going to come down, well, we'll talk about them plans, but I now have a total of 36,202 stitches completed out of 1,080,000. I am at 3.35%. So I got those pages done there, right? And then I decided to work my way down to the bottom. So this is the bottom corner down here. So I'm going to get all these park threads worked in, like this one up here, these here, this one single one in this page right here. And then I'm going to kind of, we'll figure it out as we go along. But yeah. So I got the 400 stitches on that, but I'm still trying to catch up on it. Okay. Final whip. My final whip is my focus piece for the year. And this is Honeymoon Sunset. Artwork by Abraham Hunter. This is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. It is 869 by 649 and it has 133 colors. My goal is to get it to 50% by the end of the year. My goal for the month of October is to get it to, what, 48%, I think it is. I forgot. I'm waiting for Pattern Keeper to catch up to all the stitches I've done. Yeah, my goal is to get it to 48% by the end of October. And then 49 in November, and then 50 in December. Okay. I'm doing this 2 over 1 tent stitch on a 25 count, easy count Lugana. And, oh, I'm going to show it like this. I'm just going to show where I worked this week. I'll show the whole thing at the end of the month, but I'm just going to show where I worked this week. Okay, so here's where I worked. I did a total of 1,007 stitches, and as you can see, it was a lot of it. I did a little bit more in the Adirondack chair here, but a lot of it was down here. Let me see. I am now sitting at 266,382 stitches completed out of 563,981. I am at 47.23%. So I will continue working in this bottom section down here, trying to get all of this, trying to get this kind of filled in going up. With the goal of getting it to 48% by the end of the month. Which is doable. I had done the math and it's fine. Like it's not where I'm like, oh my God, I have to focus on this and only this the rest of the month to get it. So that was all my whips. Before we break to play around a Monopoly, I do want to go ahead and pick out 2. Let's go ahead and, actually, real quick, let's update the boards. Let's update the boards, and then we're going to select 2 whips to vote on for the new a secondary temperature replacement, because I feel like I need to have something waiting in the wings, because I'll show you when I do the plans, we're going to get really close here soon, and I don't want to be scrambling and rushed with trying to find a replacement piece for my temperature stitching. Okay, so we'll do this board first. So this has my bake-off pieces on it. What did I get to? We did Mermaids of the Season. I did 200 stitches on that, right? Yeah, 200 stitches. So this is going from 2,700 up to 2,900. And my goal is dropping from 1,300 down to 1,100. And then what else did I work on? I worked on Sweet Bee. I did another 100 stitches. So this is going from 1,400 to 1,500. And my goal is dropping from 600 down to 500. Christmas Cupcake, I had 1,702 stitches. I added another 500. So this is going up to 2,202. And my goal is dropping from 2,298 down to 1,798. But that piece is done for the game. So, oh, you know what? I didn't take off Holiday Quaker. That goal got done. Let's do that real quick. I know, if you're new, I know this board looks a little confusing. We're not going to get into it. We're not going to talk about the past. Okay, and then Patchwork Quilt Room right here. It's like glaring for me because of the sun coming in, but it's fine for you guys. That's why I keep like moving it, because then it's like I can't see it. Okay, Patchwork Quilt Room. I did another 100 stitches, so this is going from 1,200 to 1,300. And my goal is dropping from 800 down to 700. Spicy Disaster is the final one for Bake Off I worked on. That had 1,105. I did another 100. And it is increasing to 1,205. And my goal is dropping from 1,895 down to 1,795. And then down here, we'll go ahead and update Catching Ray's Marathon real quick. This is including from, this number includes the training that Andrew did when he was going to run in the Sydney Marathon that he was not able to get to. So I had 6,332 stitches. I am adding another 400. So this is going up to 6,732 stitches. I'm keeping a total count like this because I want to see how many stitches I've done since he started training for the marathons. Since May. Okay, and then Honeymoon Sunset. This is my goal for the year. This is not how many I've done total, obviously. I had 53,467. I'm adding 1,007, so this is increasing to 54,474 stitches I've done so far. And my goal is dropping from 16,613 down to 15,606. And my percent is increasing from 47.05% to 47.23%. I don't need to update my temperature board because I didn't get to any of those whips. Wah, wah, wah. And then we need to update the 2 Monopoly pieces here. I worked on Winter Sampler. I had 1,100 stitches. I'm adding another 400. So this is increasing to 1,500. And my goal is dropping from 2,900 down to 2,500. And then Mother Nature Christmas, I had 2,200. I'm adding another 300, so this is increasing to 2,500. Basically, these numbers are swapping. And my goal is dropping from 1,800 down to 1,500. There we go. That's all the updates I got for the boards. Okay, so like I was saying, even though I didn't get to my temperature whips, their numbers are starting to drop down. So I want to select, where's my decision wheel? Give me 1 second, I'm just waiting for it to load up. So we need to select 2 new whips to vote on for a second replay. We have one, walking to shame one, right? That was a straight up tie, and I had my 12-year-old pick a winner because it was tied. But now we need a secondary replacement because these temperature whips are starting to like come down in the numbers. And I'm suspecting that if we don't do this, then 2 are going to hit their goal at the same time. You know what I mean? It's like if I don't do this, 2 are going to hit their goal at the same time, and I'm only going to have 1 replacement, and then I'm going to be scrambling for a second one. And if I do this, then it's going to take forever for the second one to hit their goal. So we're going to do this. Okay, so the first one that you guys are, and we're gonna pick these whips, and then I'm going to have them in the plan section. Magnificent Wizard. Oh, we're already working on that one. Okay. So this is the basic wheel, like not the paid for wheels. So I'm not gonna sit there and create new wheels every time I wanna do something and take them off and then try to remember which ones I have, because if you pay for the version, I have the paid version on my phone, but on my tablet, just real quick, on my tablet, this is the free version. It's very, very basic. So I can't just hide slices. Like I have to remove them completely. We're not doing all that. So we're just gonna pick until we have, obviously these 2 are blacked out. These are what you guys voted on last week. But if we hit either the whip of shame I have in Monopoly or one of the 5 I'm already working on, then we're gonna just spin again, which this is one I'm already working on. So let's spin again, which is fine. I don't mind the spinning. That's my Monopoly one. That's another temperature whip. Hang on. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're gonna get them all knocked out. Okay, 3 bird watchers. And then the second one, Gift of the Eagle Feather. Okay, finally, that whip has not been selected to even vote on since I started doing Whip of Shame last year. Like, oh my God. Okay, so those are the 2 that we're gonna vote on as the second replacement piece. So the first replacement, the first whip that needs to get replaced will get replaced by Walking to Town. Then the second whip will get replaced with whichever one you guys vote on, and you'll have a week to vote. But we'll go over that when we do plans. So now we're going to break and do a round of Monopoly, and I will be right back. Okay, welcome back to Monopoly. We are doing round number 25. I have all the pieces where they need to be, so just a quick recap. The cat is over here on North Carolina. The dog, this is the order we're going to be going in. Cat is over here in North Carolina. The dog is on Illinois Avenue up here. The duck is on B&O Railroad right here. And the penguin, wah, 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 is down here in jail. So, and that is the first time it's been in jail. So it will have a total of 3 turns in jail to roll for doubles. So let's get my dice. We're going to start with the cat. 8. Over here. Sorry, I can't see part of my screen because of my phone holder, like what's holding my phone. So it's like, wait, am I in frame? I think so. Okay, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right row. 6, 7, 8. Oh my goodness. Go. So the cat landed on go, which is 200 stitches, but when you land on go, it's 400. So my go whip will get 400 stitches. Oh, it's going to be so much progress on that because, yeah. Okay, so the cat landed on go, and it did not get double. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the dog, which is up here on Illinois. I'm going to kind of, there we go, do that number right there. Oh, the dog got doubles. Is it trying to start trouble again? You guys know how the dog can be if you've been watching. All right, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Chance. What'd we get? What'd we get? I hope it's not another go to jail. Take a trip to the Reading Railroad and do 100 stitches. If you pass go, you do 200 on go. Holy shit. This is going to be so many stitches. Okay, so hang on, let me write this down. Reading Railroad, we're going to do 100. Go will be 200. And then because it's landing on Reading Railroad, which is, you know, over here on side 1. Oh, it's hard to see, isn't it? Let me move. Hang on. I have my little pillows. Look. Side note, I did this in 2005 and my mom turned it into a cute little pillow for me. I've had this thing forever, but yeah, I cross-stitched this in 2005. It's blocking my Monopoly board. That's why I'm like showing you, because I got to move it. And then this is also blocking my Monopoly board. I did this piece last year, I think it was, and she turned it into a little pillow for me. It's got cat hair and dust on it. But yeah, this was a Dimensions kit. I don't know where that other piece came from. It's so old. It's 20 years old. And then this is the other thing that was blocking my Monopoly board. This was from the set of 3 pieces from Stitch Rovia. Joy, Hope, and Love. And Love was so tiny. She turned it into an itty bitty little pillow for me. Isn't that so cute? So yeah, those 3 were blocking the board. So let's see. There we go. Now we can move it up. Okay, so dog landed on chance. It said take a trip to Reading Railroad and do 100. If you pass go, you do 200 on go. So that's a total of 300. And then Reading Railroad, I think we're going to have to pay rent. Reading Railroad. Yep. Oh, it's owned by the dog. Okay. So the dog owns it. So we're just going to do an additional 100 for owning it. Okay. So got double. So we're going to roll again. Oh God. Another set of doubles. Okay. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. St. Charles Place. St. Charles is also owned by the dog. Okay, so he's getting doubles, but he's landing on his own stuff. So we're just going to do 100 stitches. Okay, roll number 3. Oh, thank God. Whew. Whew. All right, 4, not doubles. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pennsylvania Railroad. Pennsylvania is not owned, so the dog is going to buy it. That's funny. The dog only, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was going to say the dog owns 3 pieces and landed on, yeah, the dog only owns 3 pieces on this entire board and he landed on 2 of them and now he's purchasing 1. So purchase is 600 stitches. So we're going to do 600 stitches on that. Okay, next up is the duck, which is up here on B&O Railroad. 6. 1, 2, yeah, he's on B&O. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pacific. And that is owned by the Penguin, and the rent for that is 400. I know the Penguin is in jail. My house rules are you pay rent even if the person's in jail. So we're going to do that. Okay, now we're down here to the Penguin, who is rolling his first roll to see if he can get out of jail. If he rolls doubles, then we're just going to get out and move those doubles, but not go again. If he does not get doubles, it will be another 200 stitches on my jail piece. Oh, snake eyes. Oh, thank you, Jesus. So he's out of jail, and we're going to normally, for those diehard Monopoly players, I know that just gets you out. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to go 1, 2. But we're not going again. And that is Electric Company. That is owned, I want to say it's owned by the dog. Oh no, it's owned by the duck. So that will be 400 stitches in rent for that. Okay. And we're not going again because that was doubles just to get out of jail. I know my rules are a little bit funky, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff to work on. That dog really kind of did me in. But I'm going to gather all those whips up and we'll be back to talk about it. All right. Okay, I'm back. All right, so before we get started on plans, let's talk about the 2 whips that you guys need to vote on for the second replacement. So the second replacement piece. First up is 3 bird watchers. This is a really old Dimensions kit designed by Martha Edwards. Look how old Dimensions. But this is 3 bird watchers. We're not going to go into like details or anything like that. I'm just going to show you the cover photo and the starting point for the whip. That's my starting point. And then the other piece is a Dimensions Gold collection. And this one is designed by Craig Tennant. And this is Gift of the Eagle Feather. And this is my starting point for that one. So, again, you have 3 bird watchers versus Gift of the Eagle Feather. By the way, my shirt says cross stitch. I cross stitch past my bedtime. My mom bought it for me. But 3 bird watchers versus Gift of the Eagle Feather. The only thing I'm going to say is please don't say the bird one because there's birds in this one and there's a bird in this one. So don't use the word bird when you're voting, but you can call it whatever you want. You can call it by the title. You can say the cat piece, the Christmas piece, the window, the Indian, the nature, whatever. Not nature, but you know what I mean? Like, just don't don't say the one with the bird because there's birds in both. You could say eagle. You could do that because these aren't eagles. But anyway. But yeah, so you guys have a week to vote. I will announce the winner in my next Flosstube, which will be next Sunday. And we'll see which one wins. 3 Bird Watchers I'm not saying to try to sway your vote, but 3 Bird Watchers has a lot more progress on it because it's been worked on for my Whip of Shame rotation before, and Gift of the Eagle Feather has not. Okay, so let's get into the plans. This is going to be a lot of stitching that I'm saying needs to be done. However, like I said before, I'm not stressing it because we're just going to continue to carry these stitches over because I will be off of work, both jobs. For those who don't know, I have 2 jobs. I work in a plastic surgeon's clinic Monday through Friday. And then I pick up like 1 weekend day a week. So basically I work 6 days a week. But my second job is a local freestanding ER over by my house for the same company, for the same hospital system. So I essentially work 6 days a week right now. Unless I'm not working, they don't always need me every weekend, because I'm like as needed. But I will be off both jobs the week of my birthday. I got screwed over one year on my birthday at work, and I said, screw it. I'm not working the entire week no more. That's a vacation for me to take a break from work for my birthday. So I will be off the weekend before my birthday, the week of my birthday. My birthday is on a Monday, and the weekend after, and then I go back to work the following week. So I will have lots and lots of time, and it happens to work out that I don't have my kids that week either. So it's just me. And when it's just me, I don't have to spend an hour cooking dinner. I don't have to, like, you know, drive and go get them, nothing like that. So I do have stuff around the house that I need to do, like, you know, clean, of course, you know, the typical stuff. Plus there's a couple projects around the house that I'd like to do, and I have an eye doctor appointment on my birthday. I did that on purpose. It was fine. So I have to go to the eye doctor. I have some projects around the house that I want to try to work on, you know, since I'll be home all day, every day for a week. And so I'm not going to be stitching, you know, from the moment I wake up until the moment I go to bed every day. But I feel like I'm going to have enough time to get caught up on everything. That's what I'm hoping. And if I don't, it's fine. No big deal. We'll just move on. So let's talk about temperature stitching first. Okay. So I need to show you my board first. So this is my tracking board for temperatures. I didn't work on them at all this week, so that's why we didn't see this when I was updating my boards. But as you can see, this one is almost done in her garden. And these, they're all 1,000 or below, right? So we're getting there. Of course, because in her garden only has 300 to get her goal done, do you think that she came up last week for temperatures? No, she didn't. Did she come up for this week in temperatures? No, she didn't. So, but let's go over what the upcoming temperatures are, and then I got to pull this board back out again because I got to talk about the plans. Okay, so the temperatures starting with today, I do the projected highs, and I do 100 stitches for, I got my 5 whips that are assigned to 2 numbers each, and I look at the projected highs from the day I film until the day before I film the next video. So this is from October the 12th to October the 18th. My temperatures are in Fahrenheit because I'm in Florida. And the projected highs for the upcoming week are 85, 87, 86, 88, 86, 85, 86. So, first up, assigned to the numbers 0 and 5 is Bless This Nest. This is an old kit from Busilla. And 5 came up twice. No zeros, but 5 came up twice. And so this one, for this week, will get 200. Here we go. Here's my starting point. For this week, it'll get 200. And then for last week, it needs 100. So this is going to get 300 total. That is going to drop. Actually, I don't need to bring the board out. I'm just going to tell you. I showed you the board. So the goal, to complete, oh my God, the stitches to complete the goal is 900. So if I can get all the stitches done, that's going to drop that down to 600. But for for this week and for catch up, it needs a total of 300. And then assigned to the numbers 1 and 6 is Magnificent Wizard. This is one of the ones that I had spun, and I'm like, oh no, it's in my temperatures already. Magnificent Wizard. This is a Dimensions Gold Collection. And my son is trying to FaceTime me. Hopefully he realizes I'm filming. Usually he'll call me and then he'll be like, oh my God, were you filming? I'm sorry. And this is my starting point with it. So for this week, it's assigned to 1 and 6. 6 came up 3 times. And so it needs 300 for the upcoming week plus 100 from last week. So a total of 400. That will bring the goal from 600 down to 200 if I can get those stitches done. So I would only need 200 more. I would only need its temperatures to come up 2 more times to get this goal completed. And then assigned to the numbers 2 and 7 is Aurora Cabin. Another Dimensions Gold Collection. 7 came up once, no 2s. So this I'm just going to show you this half because I'm working up here. So this is going to get 100 stitches plus 200 from last week. So it'll be 300 total. And that will bring the goal from 1,000 down to 700. So this one still has a bit. This one's the one that's the least furthest along. So I'm not worried about that one. And then the final one that's going to come up is Frederick, which is assigned to the numbers 3 and 8. This is a Creative Accents kit, which is owned by Dimensions. No 3s in the temperatures this week, but there was an 8. And that is my starting point with it. So this one will get 100 for this week plus 300 from last week. And its goal, so that's going to be 400 total, and its goal will drop from 700 down to 300. So that's 3 pieces that are less than, like, what am I trying to say? So it's 3 whips that if I got caught up on the temperature stitching, Magnificent Wizard will be at 200 left, Frederick will be at 300 left, and In Her Garden will be at 300 left. So I think depending on what the temperatures are next week, we may end up voting for a 3rd replacement. But I've got 2 waiting in the wings because I seriously, it's physically impossible for all 3 of them to complete their goals in the same week at this point. Yeah, it's physically impossible for all 3 of them to complete their goals in the same week because there's only 7 temperatures and that's a total of 800 stitches. No, 300, 600, yeah, 800 stitches. So at the most 2 would get replaced in the same week and then we would vote on the 3rd one. So it's fine. Okay. Next up, let's discuss, what are we going to talk about? Let's do Monopoly. All right. So let's go over the round and I will work in the catching up stitching. Okay, so round 25, the cat landed on go. So when you land on go, you need to do 400 stitches on your piece that is assigned to go. That is Dreaming of Autumn Leaves by Rosewood Manor. And I'm just gonna kind of hold it up like this. There we go. So that is my starting point. Now, this is, if I can get caught up on my Monopoly, now Monopoly is going to go over 2 weeks, so it doesn't really matter, but catching up. So this needs 400 stitches for the cat landing on go. I still owe it 200 stitches from last round. I don't even remember what it was. What was the last round? Oh, the dog was just visiting. And this is my whip for go, just visiting, and free parking. So it needs 200 stitches from last round to catch up, the 400 from the cat for landing on it, and hold on, there's something else I thought I had to do. Maybe it was just that. Oh, nope. The dog landed on chance and was sent to a property where it passed go to get to that property. So that's another 200 stitches on this. So that's a total of 800 stitches for Dreaming of Autumn Leaves. That's a lot of stitches for that piece. So that's exciting. I'm trying to see, I'm looking real quick. Oh, no, never mind. I was trying to see if it was like close to getting its goal done. No. Okay, next up. So the cat landed on go, I showed you that. The dog, like I said, landed on chance, and it was sent to Reading Railroad. So it had to do 200 stitches on go, and it landed on Reading Railroad and had to do 100, and it owns Reading Railroad. So when the piece owns a property, it does 100 stitches. My railroad pieces, the whip for the railroads is Mother Nature Christmas. So she is coming back out again. So all the railroads, all 4 railroads, I work on her. So it's my starting point for her. So it was 100 stitches for landing on Reading Railroad. It owns it for another 100. And then the dog rolled doubles again, and then rolled doubles again, and ended up on Pennsylvania Railroad. And it's going to purchase Pennsylvania Railroad for 600. So this is going to be 800 stitches on her. Again, nowhere close to getting her goal done. I had this grand idea that I thought it would be a great idea at the beginning of the year. Jen thought it would be a great idea to have a goal of 4,000 stitches on my Monopoly pieces. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. So that was roll 1. It rolled again because it had gotten doubles, and landed, and it had gotten doubles for the second time, and landed on St. Charles Place. And St. Charles is the purple piece, which the purple property is the sewing desk. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And the dog owns St. Charles, so this is only going to get 100 stitches. It's going to be up at the top, but I'm going to show you the whole everything I've done. I am starting off at 11,595 stitches completed out of 196,875. I am at 5.89%. But I'm going to work up here, working on this bear up here. All right. Okay, so that was the second roll, and then it rolled for a third time. Luckily did not get doubles, but landed on Pennsylvania Railroad, which it's purchasing that one. Okay, so then the duck rolled and landed on Pacific Avenue, and Pacific Avenue is the green property, which is Halloween Letters. And this is by Primrose Cottage Stitches, designed by Lindsay Waite. And I think it was the Penguin owns Halloween Letter, or the Penguin owns Pacific Avenue. It's my starting point. So this piece is going to get 400 stitches, and I will continue working in this, I'm going to continue working in this line up here. Work on getting that done. If I get that line completed and there's still stitches remaining, I will move up to the next line. There's still 2 more. There's 5 total. No, there's 6 total. So I'm working on number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 6 total. So if I can get this line completed and there's still stitches remaining, I will move up to this one and work on that one. And if you're wondering, what are you working on? What are you stitching? What fabric? Blah, blah, blah. I talk about that when I actually show the whip, because I would be here for hours and hours and hours if I did it every single time I showed the piece. Okay, so that was the duck. And then the penguin. Okay, so let me do this part first. So the penguin landed in jail last round. And I didn't get to it, but I had to do, when you land in jail, you have to do 200 stitches on the jail piece. And that is Rocky Point. This is one of my whips of shame. It's a Dimensions Gold collection. And this is my starting point with it. So this will need still 200 stitches from when the penguin landed in jail. Not sure where I'm gonna work. I don't know. And this round, the penguin rolled to get out of jail, which it did. It rolled doubles. So like I said during the round, I know die-hard Monopoly fans, and when I play normal Monopoly, if I roll doubles to get out of jail and I actually get doubles, I just get out of jail. I don't move forward. But we want to make this complicated. So so he rolled doubles and he he got out of jail and he went ahead and moved those, he moved that amount, but he's not going to go again. Like, he doesn't get to roll again for the doubles because that was to get out of jail. So he got Snake Eyes, got out of jail, and landed on Electric Company. And that piece is Reaching Skyward. By Modern Folk Embroidery. This was this Sal from 2023. That is my mock-up. I'll go over this when I show it, but this is not the original colors. Those are the colors I picked. And this is my starting point with it. Right here. I am starting off at 2,600 stitches done out of 47,789. I am at 5.44%. And this piece will get 400 stitches in rent. It is owned by the dog, who owns both of the utilities. So rent is increased. No, I'm sorry, not the dog. It's owned by the duck. The duck owns more than 6 properties, and it owns both. So that's an additional 100. Plus it owns, it has a monopoly on the utilities, which is an additional 100. So rent is 400 stitches. Okay. So there's all the monopoly. Next up, gridiron grind. The Bucks play the 49ers today. So just a quick reminder, Afternoon Tea by Heaven and Earth Designs. I still need 93 stitches to catch up from last week, plus whatever the 49ers scored today. The game's not until like 4 something, so. And then the piece for the Buccaneers is Bathyscaphe. This is by Heaven and Earth Designs, designed by Jacek Jurka. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. And I'm starting off at 1,670 stitches done. There we go. 1,670 stitches done out of 202,950. I am at 0.82%. This needs to catch up. I need to do 480 stitches on it from last week's game that I wasn't able to get to, plus whatever they scored this week. I noticed looking at it in the camera right now, actually that looks, so I think last week I made a comment about how it looked really, really dark, like all solid color. But today, it's got to be the lighting. Today it looks like it's supposed to, so that's cool. So this will, I may end up flip-flopping, and I may end up getting this caught up and then working on this week's game and then not getting Afternoon Tea done. I don't know, who knows. Okay. So that is Gridiron Grind. All right. And then we're going to go over so many plans. I feel like I spend half of the time showing my whips and half of the time talking about plans. Okay. Next, we're going to go over Great British Bake Off. So I'm going to be working on, I'm all caught up with Bake Off. I have no catch-up stitching to do for that. Thank goodness. But we're going to be working on week 6, which was pastry week. This is for the newest season. So I'm not going to say who got what regarding, you know, if there were handshakes, who got first or last in technical, who got sent home. I'm going to be talking about them as if the actual whip got it. So week 6, pastry week. Because it's a new season, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I really don't want to spoil it for anyone. So I'm trying to do as little spoiling as I can. There were no handshakes. Of course, I got to do a little bit of spoilers because I got to tell you what I'm working on. But there were no handshakes this week. And then last in technical was the Mermaid Sal. Actually, I just showed the cover photo when I did the whips. So I'm just going to show you this piece here. Last in technical was the Mermaid Sal. So I'm going to do another 100 stitches in the Autumn Mermaid. First in technical, where is it? First in technical also got Star Baker. So Sweet Bee did really good this week. Got first in technical and Star Baker. So Sweet Bee will get another 300. Oh my, hold on. I'm so sorry. There we go. Floppy fabric. Sweet Bee is going to get another 300 stitches. So I'm going to complete the back stitching in this block here, that orangey color I was telling you about earlier. And then I think, I think once I get that done, I think I might come up and start working up here. Like I already have some of it started, that green right there. I may come up and start working on that. So, but that'll be 300 stitches for Sweet Bee. Now I got to get my life together. Hang on. All right. And then eliminated. The one who was eliminated was Dolly Mama Ho. This piece right here. This is a really old kit that one of my subscribers sent me. So it's all beat up. This is my starting point with her. And since she got eliminated, she will also get 300 stitches. I will probably stay working up in this area up here. Maybe try to get her head done. All right. So that was everything for Bake Off. Now, weekly, like just staying out all the time. 6 portals. May or may not get to it this week, but just a reminder, if you have not seen this yet, this is 6 portals charted by Paint Free Crafts. Artwork is by Rose Cat Con. I have worked across the top through all 6 portals. And then now I'm just rotating through when I can get to them. I was able to rotate through all 6 once. So now this would be my second round going through all 6 again. I think what I'm going to try to do, because I want to try to keep everything kind of even, I'm going to try to get through them one more time, and then that will be it until next year. And I'll just show you where, I'll show you, if I can get to it, I will show you next week the whole part that I've worked, but I'm going to try to work on Portal 1 again. So, because I wanted to try to keep everything as even as I could regarding the amount that I've done in each one. Like some obviously does have more than others because of how I had to work across the top, but I wanted to try to keep the set amount that I'm stitching. I wanted to try to keep it as even as possible. So basically I have a total of 6 weeks, so plenty of time. If I have to skip it another week, it's fine. But I think I'm going to try to get through 1 portal per week, 1 more round. And then it's going to get kind of put away until next year. Okay. Catching Rays. This piece here, my biggest piece. I have to catch up with Andrew's Whip into Shape challenge. So I'm going to get this thread worked in. I'll probably go ahead and get this thread worked in just to get rid of it. And then I'll come back up and I'll get these threads worked in for his challenge. And then after that, who knows what I'm going to end up doing. Because I could work anywhere because I have it all the way down. But yeah, for sure getting these park threads all worked in for his Whip into Shape challenge. And then the final piece will be Honeymoon Sunset. Trying to get this to 48% by the end of the year, or no, end of the year, end of the month, 48%. I will keep working in this area right down here. So. I think that's about it. I'm finalizing my plans for next year. I keep talking about them with Alara, like kind of like tweaking them here and there. And I will film a plans video during that week that I have off. I think that's about it. So make sure that you vote for the second replacement piece for the temperature whips. Let's hope and pray I can get a lot of this stitching done regardless of how much I get done, Monopoly still is going to go over 2 weeks. So even if I had like an epic stitching week, and let's just say I got all of the Monopoly stitching done, not going to happen because of how much I have to do, but let's say I got all the Monopoly stitching done, I still would wait 2 weeks before I do another round, because it is a lot of stitching and there are people that are stitching long at home. So I want to give them 2 weeks to get it done. Plus it would give me a break, but it's not all going to get done. There's no way, but just saying. I think that's about it. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. If you like what you had to see and you're not already subscribed, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. Make sure that you vote for the replacement piece for the temperature whips. And I think that is it. So take care, happy stitching, get a lot of stitches in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.